Welcome back, everybody, and it's about that time. I've been holding it out for far too long, and that is a new tier list. No PvP tier list, not yet until the Season 1 drops. Completely new tier list. It's been about 2 months since I've made one since the launch of the game. Lots changed since then, new units and whatnot, new UR units I mean. So, yeah, there is a few more rules I will be putting onto this tier list. But before that, there is something I do need to talk about, and it's not something I really enjoy talking about or want to do, but things are pretty rough right now. And if you know, this channel is not monetized. This is just a hobby. I don't get a cent from doing this, and I enjoy doing this. But times are rough right now for me at the moment. Not really good at talking like this, to be honest. It's not something I really want to do. But I did open up a Patreon or PayPal if you feel like donating, because I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty rough right now. I throw in 100 applications and get nothing back. So until we're in a more stable environment, I can't really pay my internet bill at the moment. I'm completely running off a mobile hotspot at the moment. Uploads are really slow. They take at least 2 to 4 hours. It's not something it's not really, acceptable, I guess, to keep uploading over and over new videos and whatnot when they take like 2 to 4 hours to upload. And it's really disheartening. I really wish I wasn't in this circumstance, but like I said, times are rough. So if you do want to help me out or help the channel grow, the links will be in the description. There's perks to it, of course. They're not really big ones, but like I said, this is only temporary until we can find a more stable solution. But with the downside out of the way, like I said, really don't feel proud doing this, but when you hit rock bottom, what more can you really do? But that's about it for that part. So let's get on to the tier list. I did make a few couple rules compared to the first tier list, and that is I will now focus on Eternal Road. Before I did not, because it was still too new, but now I will. Some units will be completely focused on that, as well as other elements of PvE. This is only for PvE, like I said, not PvP, not yet. Another thing, I am also counting the pilots as well. They're a package deal, so it's only fair to count the pilot and the unit as well. And the most important part, this is just my own opinion. Been playing this game for 2 months, and while I think I know most things about the game, there's some other things I don't really get. I ain't one of those Japanese players that know this game inside and out, full free to play teams doing the hardest event. I probably could, but there's so much time, resources into it, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really the smartest guy out there, so can't really say that this is a definitive tier list. There's probably better ones out there or worse ones, who knows. But without further ado, those are my rules, and let us get into it. And the first one, and it pains me to put this here, is the defentive. Oh, defentive. It's probably one of the most fun units in the game, but it severely suffers from an identity crisis. It's a defender that wants to be an attacker, and don't get me wrong, it doesn't excel at attacking, but it's not bad at it either. When it counterattacks, I believe it gets 20% damage, and the pilot's abilities are critical rate up for whatever reason, and damage boost 20. And a fun little fact too, I think he has like the 3rd highest EX attack damage as well. But like I said, he's a defender. He's not supposed to be attacking. He still tanks relatively well, but he's not out tanking like the Justice or any other defender in the game. Honestly, you are, I mean, really fun unit, really gimmicky unit, but I feel like it really hurt him having this little identity crisis of who he wants to be, an attacker or a defender. He's still really solid, don't get me wrong. That's also one thing I do want to mention. There is no bad URs, they're all good in their own way. Obviously, they're the cream of the crop, the best suits in the game. They're supposed to be good. But yeah, I just feel like he's an extremely gimmicky unit. He just doesn't know what he wants to be, and yeah, fun unit though. Also, another thing, his energy is on the really low side. He only has 270, and I think his EX attack takes like 55 energy, around there. That's pretty high when he keeps counterattacking. This is like one of the only URs where I've actually had energy problems, where he runs out consistently. That's one of the good things he does. He just runs out of energy immediately because of his counterattacks. He also has a fun little gimmick thing where if he dodges, it's like 15% extra, which it's not really useful in harder content. But yeah, he has energy problems. He doesn't know what he wants to be. He's a fun gimmick unit, really cool unit of course, but he's such a weird design. I don't really get it. Maybe JP players can understand it more, but I just don't see the vision. I feel like they kind of messed him up a little bit, but he's still an incredibly fun unit. 21 is the Gundam, the OG Grandpa. If you use this unit, you know what he's all about. He's about defending. The only problem is his pilot only defends once, and while that's not the worst thing in the world, having double defense is always, wanted. More, more, what's the word? Damn. You want more. You want a second defense chance, and he only has one. Don't get me wrong, he can still tank hits incredibly well, but like I said, you want 2 defense chances, not 1. He won't do any damage, of course. He's not about that life, but he still tanks incredibly well, like I said, and his pilot abilities are also really good. With sway and whatnot, he can be a little decoy and whatnot, but like I said, he doesn't excel at damage or anything else. He's just there to take 1 hard hit, and that's pretty much about it. Still really good, but I just feel like the other defenders do his job a lot better, but still pretty solid. Number 20 is the Phoenix Gundam. Honestly, you can move him up a little bit more, but to me, he seems like master of nothing, jack of all trades kind of unit. He doesn't really excel at damage. He doesn't really excel at defense either. He's just kind of there. His support is really nice, the physical attack, but I feel like physical attack just really isn't there yet. He has good range as well, good abilities and whatnot, especially his pilot. But like I said, actually, we'll look at the pilot a little bit while we're at it. Let me see. Oops, nope. Once it feels like loading. I guess I broke it. Nice. Alright, there we go. Where is he? Where's the Phoenix Gundam? There he is. He has a lot of really good tech. Fun fact, he's like one of the only units that can be UC and alternative. So you can pretty much run him in like almost every Eternal Road. He has really good flexibility on that part. Also, another thing, I am basing off these units off 0 dupes because that's, that's usually what most people will have unless they well. So his terrain is also really good. Like I said, his range is also very good. His defense is also, debuffing is also pretty solid as well. But like I said, physical weapons just really isn't there yet, and his unit abilities are pretty meh. But you can make it work, that's for sure. He is really solid. Like I said, a lot of flexibility, but I just feel like other debuffers are more better than he is, since they have a lot more better debuffs. Like I said, physical weapons, there's some really good ones, like the I believe the Easy 8 and the Striker, but they're still not really there yet. Yeah, like I said, I have to use hotspot now, so the loading is pretty much abysmal. Really rough, but just the way it is. But yeah, he is number 20. You can honestly switch him with the Build Strike because of his versatility, but I prefer just to put him right here because I think Build Strike has a lot more gimmicks to him. And with that, we will go to the Build Strike at 19. Build Strike is one of the new units from the new banner at the moment. And while I think he's decent, I don't think his pilot is kind of holding him back. His pilot only has one good skill, which is the boost range up. Boost range is obviously very good. If you used it, you know how good it is. Like I said, loading issues, but he only has one boost range up, which is pretty meh. I mean, it's not meh, don't get me wrong. I mean, accuracy, yeah, he has the accuracy skill, which is probably one of the worst skills in the game. Very niche. I think I've only used it a couple times, honestly, the accuracy up. Like I said, I believe his only good skill, the pilot, is the boost range. But talking about the suit, it also does what the Phoenix Gundam does as well, physical weapons, except he has a little bit more to him. He has a map attack, which is only a straight line. It can still prove useful in a sticky situation, you never know, against mobs and all that. Also, he has more weapons. Well, he doesn't have more weapons. Damn. Maybe I should move up the Phoenix Gundam up one. I don't know. Also, he does have pretty good tags as well. He's also part of the Seed series as well. I'm assuming he's going to be really good for the Destiny, since I'm assuming Destiny will be physical based. Maybe that's why they released him in this banner for whatever reason, just so they could buff the Destiny. Who knows, but right now I feel like he just doesn't really have that good partner to pair up with. But maybe down the line he will. But right now I put him at 19. Really solid, but like I said, physical weapons aren't really there yet. And the only good pilot ability he has is boost range up. Anyway, let's move on to 18. And that's the Unicorn. Don't get me wrong, Unicorn has one of the highest EX attacks in the game. It can hit like a truck, but his pilot is a little bit dated. He only has one chance step, and while that's not the worst, it's not the best either. Obviously, you want to. You never know, it could prove useful in Eternal Road, and basically in anything. An extra chance step can always prove useful. He hits hard. He does one job. He only has one job, and that is to hit hard. And then other than that, he's just there. He feels pretty squishy. He usually dies in most Eternal Road, or pretty much almost in every event. He can still take at least one hit, but he's an attacker. He does one job, and that is to hit hard one time, or maybe twice if he survives with his sway. But then after that, it feels like he's kind of hitting like a feather. After you use his abilities and whatnot, he's just kind of there. But he's still really solid, can still hit like a truck. I do believe he has the highest EX attack in the game. Like I said, loading issues, but don't quote me on that. I believe it's the highest. Actually, give me one moment. Yeah, I just had to look it up on my phone. He does have the highest EX attack in the game at 7,800. Like I said, this guy can hit really hard, but after that, he even has the extra, the closer you are to the enemy, the more damage you get. Like I said, he's a one-trick pony. He's there to hit hard, and then after you use his abilities, he's just kind of there. I feel like other attackers do what he does, but a little bit with more versatility and more damage boosts and all that. Like I said, still incredibly good. Unicorn can still hit really hard, but I feel like his skills don't really match up to the later attackers we will talk about. He also has damage reduction, but it doesn't really feel like he gets the 50% damage reduction on beam ranged weapons. He still gets hit pretty hard. It's weird having damage reduction for an attacker because it feels like it doesn't really help much, and I feel like it doesn't really help the unicorn as much. Anyway, I kind of spoiled a lot on the list, my bad. But 17 is the crossbone. Crossbone can hit incredibly hard just like the unicorn. The only problem is it is RNG based, but his pilot is also really excellent. His pilot is basically just menagers. They have sway, they have attack boost, but his pilot has critical rate up, which is more, useful. His attacker pilot feels like a pure attacker. His suit, while it can hit really hard, it is extremely RNG based. You can increase the RNG by 40%, but 40% is still 40%, of course. If you miss it, you miss it. If you land it, he's gonna hit hard. But I feel like the other attackers on this list will do that amount of damage without relying on RNG. Don't get me wrong, can still hit really hard just like the unicorn, where they're one-trick ponies, and once they're done with their tricks, they're just ponies, if that makes any sense. 16 is the O. 16 is the O. The O doesn't really excel at anything. It can do some really solid damage, but it's not like excelling at everything. Its range is also pretty decent. It's not the best. His EX attack is really good. It reduces beam weapon damage by 35, I believe. Let me double check at the moment. I believe it is 35. Give me 1 second. Yes, it is. It is 35, and if you know, most weapons in this game are beam based, so especially most EX weapons have either beam or special or beam or physical. Beam is really good, and he is no exception. I just feel like compared to other supports, he falls short. I feel like his pilot is more better than the suit. The suit is a little bit kind of meh. It doesn't really know what it wants to be, and its pilot unit abilities aren't really that great as well, with having max energy, mobility, and increased defense when vigor, increased attack and defense when vigor is super high or higher, which is decent. He's basically going to get that because his pilot increases his MP, which is also a really solid skill to have, of course. Wow, it's even lagging on my phone too. That is how bad it is. But yeah, his pilot can increase his vigor and whatnot. I believe he has... Does he have boost range? I don't remember. Let me double check it real quick. When it feels like loading. Give me 1 sec. Yes, I did check, and he does indeed have boost range. He has MP up, boost range, and energy charge level 5, which is really good. His pilot is exceptionally good. I feel like the only thing that really holds him back is his suit. And don't get me wrong, his suit is still really good. Honestly, you could even move him up if you really wanted to. I don't see any reason you wouldn't, but I feel like the other supporters up the list does what he does, but it helps the team a lot more. Like I said, really amazing pilot, but the unit is solid but not amazing, unlike the other supports where I feel like their units and pilots completely synchronize. Anyway, with that, like I said, really good unit. You can move them up. You can argue that you can really move them up. Even the top 10, maybe, if you really wanted to. I feel like, in my opinion, supporter debuffs are more important than anything else. They're the bread and butter of this game. They really enhance attackers and whatnot, but that's just my own opinion. Like I said, you could really move him up if you really wanted. I'm kind of on the fence about moving him up, but I feel like these other units are just as essential to teams as well. And with that, let us move on to number 15, which is the Justice, the PvP master. At least he was for season 0, but from my experience using him in PvE, And I even have the one-shot killer as well. I feel like this guy just isn't really doing any damage at all, like puny damage, fully leveled, fully, you know, pilot level, unit level, 30% one-shot killer and all that. This guy tickles. He tickles like a feather. And I know he is a defense unit. Of course, he's not there to do damage, but you know, you never know. You might need a clutch, and then you could be using this guy, and then he tickles the enemy. He doesn't do anything. His EX attack is really good, only for the stat debuff, 25 defense. But other than that, the pilot only defense. You know, he only defends once. He doesn't have an extra chance step, which is really unfortunate, because if he did, I think he would be way higher up the list. He only defends once though. His pilot abilities are pretty decent. He has good damage reduction. He will tank really, really well. But I feel like there's just a case of the normal Gundam, but the normal Justice does what he does, but a lot better. But it's not like he really, well, his defense is extraordinarily good, and his damage reduction is also good. But he does tickle like a feather, and he only has one defense chance step, while the other defense units on this list have more. And I feel like that's really more important for a defense unit than their actual defense, having that extra chance step while having really high defense. So let us move on to the next one, number 14, GPO2. And I know not many people might agree with this or might not. This guy has one gimmick, and he has one gimmick only, the map attack. Once you use the map attack, or if you can't use the map attack, this guy will tickle like a feather, and his EX attacks and everything else will just tickle like a feather as well. He's not there to really excel at damage other than his map attack. He's all about the map attack. And don't even get me started on his pilot. His pilot is poo-poo. I do not like him at all. They gave him free energy skills. Free. They were so scared of this guy doing damage with his map attack that they just destroyed his pilot abilities. Sure, he has the ranged ability up. He has really high range. The Gato pilot, I think it's around 800. But like I said, he did not need those energy skills at all. They kind of destroyed the pilot by doing that. The suit is still extraordinarily good. The map attack. But other than that, he also debuffs physical weapons. But like I said, we're not really there yet. But because of his map attack, he's way above leagues. These guys, that's for sure. He's still really good. Still really solid. He was made to defeat the rivals Eternal Road. If you look at that map, he's pretty much made to clear it. He will help you immensely on that map. But other than that, I can't really see much use with him other than his map attack and sometimes his EX attack. But like I said, his pilot was extremely done dirty. Still a really solid unit, and his map attack is arguably the best in the game. Let us move on to number 13, which is the narrative. And I know many people might say, well, the narrative sucks. Yes, the unit sucks. But his pilot is one of the best pilots in the game, Jonah. He has double defense chances, which I don't need to tell you how extraordinarily good that is. His skills are good. He has defense up. He has an HP ability that restores his HP. He's really stupidly solid. And you could even, and if his unit was just slightly more better, his terrain is garbage. If his unit was slightly more better, I would put him over the Barbados. But Barbados does a little bit more. Unit is pretty meh. It can tank. It's decent. But his pilot is almost godlike. If the unit was a little bit better, he would be way higher. But like I said, his pilot is a must-have if you need a defender. Extraordinarily good. You really do need one. And that goes pretty much the same with number 12. The Barbados is a decent attack, well, decent defender, I mean. It can sometimes throw in some good attack numbers. It's a little bit of both. Not having an identity crisis like the Death Scythe, that's for sure. But he still excels at having defense, and like Jonah, Mikazuki has a double defense chance, which is stupidly good for PvP and, you know, PvE as well, as long as with Eternal Road. Let me see Mikazuki's skills real quick. I'll look at it on my phone just because, you know, incredibly slow. But yeah, he has a pretty decent stat. He also has HP repair. He has Force Guard, which is, you know, defense up 20%. He has a random attack burst level 4, which is fine. It's not really going to help that much, but it's an option. He does a little bit more than the narrative, that's why he's here. He'll do slightly more numbers, but his defense and his pilot are really damn good. Both these guys, his pilots are top tier if you have them. I feel like their units are just a little bit underwhelming, but for defense units, they're really solid as well. I wouldn't really call them, now underwhelming isn't the right word. They're defense units, they're meant to defend. But obviously sometimes you want more attackers and whatnot. Like I said, their priority mostly is Eternal Road. They will help you a lot there. Unlike in other PvE content where you just want to clear the map real fast. But yeah, really solid for Eternal Road, both these guys. Really amazing pilots. Let us move on to number 11. And that is the Striker. If you use this guy, you know how hard he can hit. His only drawback is his terrain is pretty meh, and his movement is only 4, but his attack can land stupidly hard. His pilot is stupidly good. Another attacker with sway and attack boost, really high damage, really high attack abilities and whatnot. He will help you for Eternal Road 1. He was basically made to be there. Him and Easy 8 are extraordinarily good there. He's also good for the protagonist mission as well. I believe he is protagonist. He should be, right? I'm pretty sure he is protagonist. Yes, he is. The only thing I'll give him is that he doesn't have a lot of tags. He's on One Shot Killer, which is honestly one of the best teams in the game. But if you don't have One Shot Killer, then you kind of only have 4 other tags to go on. But still extremely good. Honestly, you can move him up higher if you really wanted to, since he's just that good of an attacker. But I feel like the other attackers just have more variety or more attack boosts. But yeah, really solid, will really help with Eternal Road. Really good attacker, kind of squishy, but that is to be expected. Let's move on to number 10. And I know some people might not agree with this. It is a Zeta. Zeta can hit really hard. It was really good in PvP. I personally never saw it being that good in PvP, but apparently it really was. It can hit extraordinarily hard, but the only problem is that, well, it's not problem, but it is RNG based, and that is because the pilot has a 50% critical rate up, unlike Kinkiru's 40%. And don't get me wrong, 50% higher than 40% of course, but it is still RNG based, and if you don't land that crit, he's not going to hit like a freight train. He will still hit really hard, but you really do want that crit. He also has hip repair as well, his pilot, which is solid, I guess. If he doesn't get one-shotted, I guess you could maybe find some use for that if you do survive a heavy hit. He also has a hip restriction as well. I believe it's 70% or higher, and you get 20% damage up. If he gets hit though, he loses the ability, so he is a one-shotter before the battle, not, well, you know, he wants to one-shot the enemy. He wants to do really high numbers, but if he can't one-shot the enemy, he's probably going to get punished for it. But he can still hit extraordinarily hard in the right circumstances. He also has high speed up, mobility up, which is also, of course, solid, but not, you know, crazy. He's a really good attacker. There's a lot of uses for him. Heck, even in the new map score event, he is probably the best unit to get the highest score. To get it, if you have him, he's going to be extraordinarily useful. I just know not many people have him because he didn't really roll on the banner. So, But yeah, he is extraordinarily good. Has really solid tags, but I feel like they're not the greatest tags. Still really good, like I said, but his hip restrictions can maybe screw you over if he doesn't one-shot the enemy. But he will hit extraordinarily hard under the right circumstances, when all the stars align and all that, with his crit rate up. So that is the Zeta. Let us move on to the next one. Next one is Salzabi. I did give Salzabi a little flack back in the day, but I saw the use, I saw the potential. I feel like he doesn't hit as hard as these other attackers anymore. He's more about his range. He has stupidly good range, 5 range on his EX attack, and if you use his boost range along with his attack burst, that's 6 range, and then, you know, obviously the extra attack, and the further you are from the enemy, the more damage boost you will get with his pilot and his EX attack. Really solid, and of course he has a double chance step, which, you know, you always want that for an attacker. Some people say that's a little bit overrated now, especially in Eternal Road. Yeah, I kind of see it as well, but this guy can still cook, and you never know when that double chance step will be useful in Eternal Road as well. You always want to clear more, and his pilot will help you do that. Still a really amazing unit, really good range, really good damage. He won't hit as hard as these other guys, but he's still here and he's still ready to, you know, hit some enemies from far range while keeping himself safe. And I think that is really, really good. Number 8 is the Exia. Oh my baby, look how far you've fallen. He used to be number 1 back in the old day in my opinion, but now I feel like these new attackers kinda do more damage. They are attacking. The only reason he is still high is because his double chance step, his pilot is still amazing. But I feel like he is not hitting as hard anymore. He doesn't really have those. It's not like he got any worse. It's just that there's more better attacking options. He doesn't have much attack boost abilities. His unit abilities, I think it's GN defend, GN shield, which it won't help you at all in Eternal Road and all that. I feel like for beginning of the game it was really useful. He was a god that couldn't be touched, but now, you know, he needs to be a lot more careful. He's a lot more squishy. He won't hit as hard as other attackers, but he still hits relatively hard, just not as hard as like the Zeta, the Striker, or the EZA. But he has a lot of versatility. His pilot, it's still extraordinarily good. Double chance step, like I said, pilot really good. You can switch up the unit Setsuna and he would still be just as good. But yeah, Exia still really solid, still really good. I just feel like its attack is falling a little bit behind all these attacker units. I think dupes really do help him a lot. One of the only units where I say dupes are like really, really good for him, just to get his attack a little bit higher. But yeah, that is Exia. Still really solid, still really good. High damage, but not out damaging these guys. And a really good pilot with double chance step. Number 7 is the Easy 8. If you have the Easy 8, you know how hard this guy can hit. He can hit like a freight train. I think his max like damage abilities overall is like 95%. It's really, really high. He was made for Eternal Road 1. He can just destroy the enemies there. He's going to help you a lot. His EX is physical, so they go over the beam defense, and he hits really, really hard, even with supporters, defense, and all that. Like reduce their defense by 35 if you have that, the red Zeta. And with this guy, it's going to hit really hard. He was made to hit really hard. He's really good for the Eternal Road 1 and the protagonist missions. He's going to hit really hard. That's his whole mission in life, is to hit really hard. His terrain is a little bit meh. He's not the best in space, of course, but for the protagonist, Eternal Road and all that, he's still really good. He only has one chance step, but it's fine. He has one job. He's there to kill the high HP enemies and do it really, really well. dupes with this guy is obviously going to help out as well, since he's going to do even more damage. But yeah, that is easy 8. Hits really hard, hits like a freight train. With damage debuffs, he's going to hit even more harder, and it's overall just going to be a great time looking at those damage, how much damage he can do. And number 6 is the new Gundam. I did this guy pretty dirty back in the day, but I didn't really know. Strike Freedom wasn't really out yet. Other units weren't really out yet that use special. Zeta uses special. Strike Freedom uses special for their EX attack. And this guy debuffs special by 35%, I believe. Or 30, I believe it's 35 though. Special, it's a little bit not as niche as it was back in the day. This guy's really good. His pilot is extraordinarily good. Boost range, attack, burst, and all that. Really solid. I think this guy really got helped out a lot more with all these new units coming out, all these new attackers and whatnot. He can really help out the team. He has really good synergy with them as well, since he's a pro tag. You can put mostly all of the pro tag units together, like Zeta, the Striker, and all that. The Strike Freedom, you can put that with this guy, and he's going to help them a lot more. He's going to debuff the enemy a lot more. Having the extra debuff is always nice, and he's going to contribute to that with his special debuff. Also, his range is just really dummy good. So yeah, that is the new Gundam. Really solid supporter. Really good range, really good pilot. What more is there to say? He's really damn good. Number 5 is a Xi'an, and if you know what the Xi'an does, it debuffs defense, base defense by 35%. Has 5 range. Her pilot is really good, MP up, and all that. She can do some really decent damage. One of the only supporters where I see actually doing some pretty decent damage. Not too low, not too high. Really good range. Defense 35% down is honestly a given. You have to have that with Eternal Road and all that. It's going to help extraordinarily well. The Xi'an is really good for the map score attack as well, with, like I said, 35% damage reduction on the enemy. Debuffs are just obviously really good for the game. You really want to debuff the unit. It's going to help out extraordinarily well. But as a debuffer, I feel like the base one is the most important one, while these side ones are also just as important, because the defense debuffs for these guys have no restrictions. It's just base 35% defense down, and that's it. That's obviously good. There's no special restriction, or there is no beam restriction, no physical restriction. It's just defense down 35%, just like that. And it's, like I said, pilot is also really good and all that, and this unit is also extraordinarily good as a debuffer. It also has a map attack, which is a little bit niche. It might help out, but it's not crazy. It's just a straight line. But yeah, that is a Xi'an. If you have it, you know how really good it is. Like I said, debuffers are the way to go. Their debuffs are just too damn good. Number 4 is the Aerial. Honestly, you could change it for the Xi'an, and I wouldn't blame ya. Aerial also has the same thing as the Xi'an. They're basically almost the same unit. 35% damage reduction, 5 range, really decent damage. It's not like they're falling short or higher than any other supporter. I think they're like the highest hitting supporters ish, kinda. It's not like they do tickle damage, but it's not like they're overachieving, you know? They don't do attacker damage. Her pilot is also extraordinarily good, Soletta. Boost range, attack burst, basically just a new Gundam. But like I said, their debuff restrictions, they have none. Like no special and all that. They're still stupid good. I only put her on number 4 because she'll be doing, honestly, she won't be doing, will she? MP up, she'll have 30% damage up, while Aerial will only have 20%. Nah, she has the boost range up, which can help you in a pickle. 6 range is obviously really good for a supporter. That's really solid. Yeah, I feel like Ariel deserves to be number 4. Really good boost range, really good attack. Pretty much the Xi'an, they're made to be debuffers and they do it really well. And debuffers are the way to go in this game, especially for Eternal Road. So what more can I say? They're really good. Number 3 is Freedom. Freedom pretty much does everything. It has a really good map attack that can clear out most mobs. Even in Eternal Road, it's also really good as well. Not as crazy in, lesser events, less harder events. In less harder events, it's going to shine, of course, the map attack and all that. But in harder events, it reduces defense as well, which is also really solid if you need it. It's just an overall amazing map attack with a debuff stacked on top of it. Its EX attack also debuffs by beam weapon, which most EX attacks are beam weapon either way. So he's going to help out pretty much almost every UR that has beam related weapons. Stack him up with the Ariel or the Xi'an, and that's basically 2 debuffs you have right off the get-go. He's really solid, really amazing. His attack isn't out of this world, but it's still on the same level as these guys. He basically does what these guys do, but a lot more flexible, a lot more versatility. His pilot is decent, Kira. He has sway, which is really good. Can save him out of some really tight pickles. Use sway, throw in an EX attack, and that's basically a free debuff on the enemy. Really solid. The only ability he really doesn't really need is the energy one. Energy one is just, these guys never run out of energy. They're supporters, they're supposed to have high energy. Really amazing unit though. You at least need one in your account. He's really going to help you a lot. Makes your life a lot easier. It also helps that most Eternal Roads can be user. 3 out of 5, I believe, the protagonist, the seed one, and the alternative universe. He can be in mostly all of them. Really solid, really good. You need at least one. He's just that good. He also tanks relatively well with his damage reduction. He's just a jack of all trades. He can do mostly everything. Obviously, he's not going to out damage the attackers, but he's going to help them put out a lot more damage while having a lot more versatility, of course. And number 2 is the Charged Zaku 2, the Origin. You could argue if he should or shouldn't be here, but to me, he has some of the most stupidly insane, if it loads. Let me see if it loads real quick. Like I said, mobile hotspot. If you want to donate, help me out with my internet bill. You don't have to, of course, but it's an option. Give me 1 second while I load it on my phone. Alright, I have him pulled up and I completely forgot how amazing his kit is. Attack burst level 4, 20%, boost range up, sway. Like, this is probably one of the best attacker kits in the whole game. He pretty much has everything. For some reason, his pilot is more melee focused in range, which is weird because his EX attack is ranged, but for some reason they just thought to give him a little bit more melee damage. It's not a deal breaker, but it's just a little weird thing they did. But like I said, his pilot is extraordinary. I was about to say extraordinarily. He's just amazing. He's really great. He has everything he needs an attacker wishes they should be. He's basically the guy your girl tells you not to worry about. He's there, he's square, he's made to do damage. His EX attack is based off his HP, and well, that's not the worst thing in the world. He does have sway, so it's not like he's going to be catched too easily if you're worried about the HP restriction. It's going to help out a lot. Increases his EX attack by 17%, and his EX attack really hits already hits like a truck. It's going to hit. He also has one of the most like damage passives in the game. When his HP is full, increases own attack by 30%. Then he has another base 15%, and then you add in the pilot ability, the 20%. That's already like a 65%. He's hitting really hard. I believe he has another one. Yes, he does. He has increased damage dealt level 3, which is another 15%. That's already an 80% stacked upon everything. And then his EX character ability when he's piloting the origin suit, which obviously you're going to pair him up in his own suit, which is another 15%. So that's basically a 95% damage buff on himself. I don't need to tell you how extraordinarily good that is. Basically just the easy 8, but slightly better. It's just slightly better. He also has about the same terrains as well as the easy 8. Honestly, you could compare him to the easy 8 as well. I need to look up the easy 8's damage values. Let me see if it's any higher or any lower. Give me one sec. Easy 8 has about a 80% in total, while the Charizard has 95 combined with everything and all that, using all the abilities. But the Easy 8 does have the MP up, which is a 30% at max level. It's really rough to decide which one is better the more I look at it now. He also has boost range up as well, Easy 8. You could actually argue that the Easy 8 is just slightly better than the Charizard 2, but Charizard 2 has, well, they're both protagonists. I don't know what I'm talking about. Honestly, I think this is fine. Maybe Easy 8 hits really hard, but I don't know if it deserves to be number 2. I think putting the Freedom at number 2 is better like that. Yeah, I think never mind. Let me fix it real quick. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better. I still think debuffers are just the most important thing in this game. I think that's a lot better now. Charizard 2 will still hit really hard. Easy 8, you could argue these guys are the heaviest hitters in the game, but without, and that's just their base too. I'm not even counting debuffs either. With debuffs, they're going to hit really hard. So yeah, you could argue they could be higher than the debuffers, but to me, debuffers are really important. They help a lot. So yeah, you can move these two guys higher, but to me, I just really like debuffing a lot more. So I think Freedom deserves to be number 2. It just does too much. It really helps a lot. And to no one's surprise, number 1 is the Strike Freedom. If you use this unit, you know how dumb it is. It's stupidly OP. Really high damage, sway, attack burst, level 5, 25%. The only skill that is pretty meh is his accuracy up, but it really doesn't matter because his pilot and unit are just so stupid. Damage reduction 30% for physical weapons. It didn't even need that, but it has it. Either way, really high ranged attack. Its EX attack is one of the best in the game. It can be used for most Eternal Roads, Pro Tag, Alternative Universe, the Seed one. It's going to help a lot in the Seed one with bosses and all that. It just hits really hard. Double Chance Step as well is really good. It really just does everything. You could argue, I don't really think you could argue that the other attackers, sure, they're going to outperform Strike Freedom, but it's not like he's no slouch with attacking as well, with his attack abilities and whatnot. I need to double check his attack abilities real quick as well. Alrighty, double checked it. At max, he's getting a 55% damage up with all of his passives and all that. And like I said, he's not going to out damage these guys, but he's still going to be incredibly versatile. Also, his damage reduction is 40%, not 30% against physical weapons, which you never know, may be useful. It certainly helped me a couple times. But yeah, this guy is just too versatile. Double Chance Step, really high damage. He just does everything you could want from an attacker, while these guys, while not being as versatile, will hit hard. The only kudos I can give to these two guys is that they will hit harder than him. That's basically it. Also, Char's kit is also really good as well. It's basically what Kira should have been. Both, you know, I just don't really like that accuracy. The accuracy is pretty meh. But he does everything. What more is there to say? And with debuffs, like, I don't know, his best friend, the Freedom, he's going to be hitting even more harder. Freedom is made to help this guy out. They're both really good units together. They can work extremely well off each other. Heck, if you're running an alternative universe team, you could help with the aerial as well. 35% defense down and 35% beam defense down. Going to help the strike Freedom a lot since his EX attack is beam special. So, you know, going to help out a lot. Also just the pace. You could even run him with the new Gundam if you really just wanted to focus pure, you know, on the strike Freedom with pro tag. But like I said, he's not going to hit harder than these guys, but his versatility more than makes up for it. He can just basically do a lot of damage, double chance stab, and it's not like he's squishy either. He can tank a hit or two. But yeah, I believe this is all the URs in the game at the moment. There may be some very controversial ones in here, you know, like, oh, you don't know how to play the game and all that. And, you know, maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, who knows, maybe a little bit of bias here and there. It is just my opinion though for playing Eternal Road and all that 2 months in. Like I said, you could switch some stuff around, you could not, it's completely up to you. This is just my own opinion, what I think is, you know, higher than most or not higher than most. And like I said, just because they're last doesn't mean they're awful. Every UR is good in their own way. It's not like there's such a thing as a bad UR. So I'll just read the top 10 real fast. Alrighty, here we go. Actually, I'll just read it from the bottom. My throat's already hurting, so let's try to speedrun this. Alright, here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. 22 Depth Scythe EW, 21 Arc 78-2, 20 Phoenix Gundam, 19 Build Strike, 18 Unicorn, 17 Crossbone, 16 Neo, 15 Justice, 14 GPL2, 13 Narrative, 12 Barbados 6 Form, 11 Striker Gundam, 10 Zeta, 9 Salzabi, 8 XCS, 7 Zaku 2 Chars The Origin, 6 Gundam Easy 8, 5 New Gundam, 4 Lishion, 3 Aerial, 2 Freedom, and number 1 Strike Freedom Gundam. Yeah, I think that's about closes it up. Tell me your opinions in the comments. Call me a dumb doo-doo head. Either one is fine. Another shameless plug as well if you want to donate to help with my internet bill and payments in the future and all that, because like I said, throw in 100 applications, don't even get nothing back. Completely optional, and like I said, temporary until we can find a more stable solution. Oh yeah, that is basically about it. Again, tell me your thoughts and all that. And yeah, who knows how long this video is gonna upload, but that is about it, guys. Take care.